Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Allard back again with another installment of our Future of Real Estate series, where we talk to really successful leaders and innovators about how they got to where they are. So, today I'm super, super excited to have our guest. This is Dan O'Halloran, who is the broker owner of the O'Halloran Group and one of the most successful realtors in the state of New Hampshire. So, welcome, Dan.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'm really glad you're here because, as we were just talking about too, you're in a really, really cool area of the country. You're in the Sunapee region of New Hampshire, the Lakes region, where, for those of you who may not know, it's very beautiful. Move there. So, you definitely will have, I think, a unique take on how this year has been and how things have gone for you, which I want to get into in a minute. But first, I would love to hear a little bit about how you got into real estate, how you got your start, how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And there might be background noise to my dog at the moment working from home. But so I got my license back in 2005. Prior to that, I was in the financial industry, and my dad was building houses up this way, and totally called me out and said, "You're miserable. You need to come. You should get into real estate and leave your job." And I totally said, "I'm happy as I could ever be in work, and I'm not ever going to do that. And you're crazy." And because my ego was not going to admit to my father that I was miserable at what I was doing. So, but then I thought about it and everything, and realized he was right, and which was begrudgingly to do so, but realized he was right. And then I love the aspect of controlling your marketing, your messaging, your business, how you care for people, and so took the plunge and jumped in. And that was '05. Yeah, and then everything kind of happened really fast after that, sort of, and lots of, it wasn't like this I got into real estate and started crushing it. It was lots of struggle, lots of challenges, not a lot of success right away, and then things compound in a pretty cool way to present day. So
Cool. So, actually, speaking of that, because I'm glad that you said that it wasn't magic right away, because some people have this perception that I think if you're naturally good at it, that sometimes that happens, and that it's such an uphill battle for them if they want to do that too.
yeah.
So, how long into it did you feel really good and feel like you were on the right track, and when did you become a team leader?
So it was, I probably didn't make a respectable income for the first 5 years. Like it was not cool, but I loved what I was doing, and I refused to give up, which is a big part of it. I joined Keller Williams back in 2017, so only 3-4 years ago, and from there our business just exploded after that. So it's been pretty interesting. I mean, it's been 15 years in business, um, but then the switch to working with Keller Williams and some of the conversations that happen in business structure and leverage really catapulted what I was doing from a production standpoint. So we went from, I was doing 30, a little over 30 transactions a year for a while, to the first year we did 50, and this year we're going to close, or are on target to help 100 families in buying and selling real estate. So pretty big change.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit before we started, and you said this year you're looking like you're going to be up 30%. And
Yep.
so obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. And things are different in different areas of the country. And I'm curious how this has affected you and your team, and what you're seeing that's different, as well as what you're seeing that's kind of the same.
Yeah. So some of the things that are the same that have just kind of, I think, compounded a little bit is our team has always had the structure of care and contribution locally. And really, with COVID and how stressed out everybody is, there's a lot more extra care that we kind of, all of us in our office have for everyone, and trying to have an understanding of people's stress and concerns and what they're going through. Um, some of that's been amplified. The struggles when you're trying to buy a house right now in a seller's market is very hard, and very emotional. I mean, we have people that have made 4 or 5 offers and not gotten their dream house. That hurts, and trying to uh, stay motivated and focused on continuing forward and not giving up on your dream of buying a house is hard. So we're trying to do our best to make sure we're there for our clients, making sure that they feel supported, they're happy, they have the best information possible to make their decisions. And there's looking at how can we be creative to really help them have success in the structure of their offer. So I mean, you just got to keep trying, and it's hard to beat cash offers that happen here and there, but and people that waive inspection contingencies. But so that's been a kind of a big change. It's the whole, the pace that's happening right now with an intensity of decision making and showings and offers and everything like that.
hmm That makes sense. And obviously, advising your clients and buyers and sellers is a big part of what you do. And also, as a team lead, you're also advising other agents and coaching and motivating them. So, can you talk a little bit about what they need from you and what you have done differently or the same as a leader?
Yeah, absolutely. So our team, I'm biased, but they're the best out there, and absolutely love them. Watching their growth from joining our company to where they are today has been really really super rewarding and fascinating to see. And really, at the end of the day, we try to help support them as best we can for anything they need. We require that they take vacations or time off without their phone and unplug. It's like in all of our business planning and goal meetings that we have regularly, it's a constant conversation of, all right, well, when's your next vacation? With COVID, we can't go as far away as we would like, but when's your structured time away to unplug? Because it's very easy to get burned out and work 24/7 in this business, and you need to step away. And we're set up to support them when they go away, so they don't have to worry about losing business and opportunities. And we all kind of help out and pitch in. So that's been really good in helping them with that. We really push, planning, goal setting for all of our team members. So it's been a big component of helping them plan to get to where they want to go, and then holding them accountable for that, and holding ourselves accountable to help get them there. So
Well, I'm glad you mentioned goal setting and planning because Keller Williams is really big on systems.
yeah.
And so I'm curious, like, can you give us a few examples of the types of goals or what you plan for? I mean, is it activity? Is it transaction volume? What are you actually like aligning your work around?
Yeah, it's literally the whole landscape of our lives to a degree. So it's I want to, if one of our team members wants to sell 30 houses in a year, all right, what does that look like, and how do we break that down from a production standpoint of how many people you have to contact on a regular basis, how many showing appointments do you have to go on for that to potentially come together and be successful. And then it goes farther to, do you want to buy an investment property this year or not? Why don't you want to buy an investment property this year? And as simple of, I want to read 2 books in a year. I don't, it's like we have a team member that doesn't like to read, and they have a goal of, I'm going to read a book because I don't read fiction books, and I'm going to try to read a fiction book for the sake of it. Very small. So we go kind of the full circle with them on kind of all that kind of goal setting and rounding it all out. And then we keep in contact in our regular meetings to see where everyone's at with that, and continue to having those conversations, because without the conversations, you're not really going to be able to get there without kind of that acknowledgement and accountability.
hmm Yeah, that makes sense. And so it sounds like you're a believer in things like sales leaderboards or dashboards for tracking, but having all that data in one place. Are you looking at it one on one, or do you look at it together as a group, or how does that
We
work?
look at it together. So I'm fortunate. My wife Christina runs the company with me, and so the two of us are right on it, keeping everybody accountable, looking at the numbers very regular basis, and making sure everyone knows where they're tracking. So, and sometimes they forget, and they're like, "Hey, do you know you're here?" And they're like, "Oh my god!" Super excited. Like this year, it's been really really exciting because March everything kind of shut down, and we didn't really know what was going to happen, and a little concerned of, okay, I think we can still sell houses, but we're not really sure. And then to come out of that with the market responding the way it has was really surprising. And we feel very fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you mentioned the sort of found money piece, not that it's, all a surprise. And part of that is because of how busy everyone is, right? That they must not be able to always step back and look at the big picture and look at just how well things are going. And so I'm curious, sort of as agents and as your team who had time during the pandemic to do things like learn more, invest in ongoing training and development, maybe practice or adopt new or different tools or the same tools. And now they're so busy. What are your expectations of your team from a sort of technology adoption, system adoption standpoint? Like, do you have the must-haves and then the things that if things get busy, like you don't have to read that book, or how does that conversation look?
Yeah. So the must-haves, I mean, they have to use our systems that we have and our CRM and all of the programs that we utilize for business. Um, those are the musts, right? And I don't need to get into the details of all the different systems that we use, but they use everything, and we keep them on that. If they want to be with us, they have to do that. If they want to get a little more creative and do some videos and things of that nature, which, real estate, all of us are now getting on video a lot more, all have different comfort zones, and getting busy, if someone gets too busy to start their goal of the video side of things, we will adjust accordingly, of course. And those are some of the aspects, like the goofier fun marketing side of things, that tend to fall off when you're just inundated with managing the ongoing business. um, our goal is always to try to make sure that, the managing of the business part doesn't take away from the growing of the business. And it's hard to get around that, and it takes a lot of the regular conversations we have to keep the kind of pedal on the gas, to keep moving forward and keep looking for opportunities.
Yeah, that balance certainly makes sense and is a challenge, I think, for all of us, that short term versus long term as well. And I'm glad you mentioned marketing because you have been sort of an early adopter of some different types of marketing and digital and some things that, not everyone saw the value of right away. And so, can you speak a little bit about how you found success marketing yourself and the O'Halloran Group?
Yeah, sure. So going back to when I got into real estate, I always thought it's really important to, um, you know, be involved in your community and then share what's going on in your community and the region that you work in. So I can't remember what year it was. I think it was probably like 2008 or something like that, maybe. I started the Lake Sunapee region Facebook page. And so it was kind of, I was like, all right, we're going to create a page about the region. People don't care about me, but they care about the region. So let's focus in that avenue, because try to capture people's passion and where they might potentially engage. So it started out okay, with some people joining the page and liking it and stuff. And then there was a snowstorm, and the police put up one of those, warning signs or whatever that said, and they kind of did the joking, like, wicked storm coming thing on there. And it went viral. I took the first photo of it, popped it up there, and it got shared like, it was the first time I've ever had any kind of viral anything on the internet. And it was like everywhere was being shared. And so I got a few hundred or so, maybe a little more than that, followers of the page after that happened. And then just we kept working on it, working on it. Now we have over 4,000 fans of the page, and it's one of the most followed pages in our area. So that was one of the earlier things I did. And that page is, has our biased real estate content, but also lots of awesome, great community information and tools of that nature. One of the things that we did recently from a marketing, virtual, and community based thing was, I kind of stole this from Adam Dow, so I'll give him credit. But he's been doing these 1K races for a while. And so we're like, all right, we're going to do a 1K because it sounds awesome and fun. And so we bought the domain ultra1k.com. So with the number 1K. And so we were planning right for May to do this Ultra 1K and have this big party. And we're going to shut down part of Main Street and raise all this money. And then obviously COVID happened right in the middle of our planning. And so we had to shift from our original plan, and we actually turned into a virtual 1K race and obstacle course event. And we raised over $8,000 locally for that, for some local charities. And it was awesome. And it was pretty hilarious to see everyone engage and get involved. And we had people that wanted to sponsor and get involved approaching us outside of people that we originally had lined up. So it was a nice way to get, a little extra promotion for our community, and for our sponsors, and then have some fun during a challenging time. So that was pretty enjoyable. We created, during COVID, we created a Sunapee Region to Go during COVID page that grew really fast. And that was kind of interesting to see. And it's not at the pace of conversation and activity on that has gone down, but during it, we just looked at what can we do to help our community and get our, compile information in a centralized resource for everyone. And that page ended up working out really well. So we got great feedback locally for that. And pretty much everything we do is, does it help our community, and does it help people involved in our lives? And if we do that, it'll all come back around at some point.
Mhm. I love that. And I mean, you're such a down to earth person, and you also have had a lot of influence in the state and in your market. We were talking before we started recording that you are past president of the New Hampshire Association of Realtors, the Lake Sunapee Chamber of Commerce. You've been involved in these other associations, as well as giving back to the community, as well as running and transacting real estate full time and running a team. And so, I'm curious, when you look at kind of all the things you do, and practicing gratitude sounds like a big part of your day too. I mean, where do you start when you have agents on your team, or maybe you're looking at your younger self or someone who's in the industry with not knowing, like, do I do I focus on the thing that's going to get me results now, or do I pay it forward and trust that it's going to come back? There are people who have different beliefs in kind of each end. And I'm curious, if you were talking to me, if I wanted to start out, what would you say? How could I get started when maybe I can't do all that, or I don't think I'd have the ability to be a president of an MLS and run my team and do all the things you're doing?
Yeah. I think everything, it's obviously planning is important, but it's all, I find if you have the long-term game approach, you'll be successful. Short-term, low mental investment, low investment in general of time is never going to make you successful. And it's overnight successes are very few and far between. And so I look at it, everything. If you're going to get into this and want to either become a leader in an association or just be known in your industry as a leader or be successful as someone in real estate, it's all about the long game. And it's all about looking at how many people can you help on a daily basis and focusing on that and not the sales price. Like for our team, I look at, we talk about this a lot. It doesn't matter the price of the home. It matters that that person had an amazing experience. And afterwards, they're going to tell everybody that you're totally crazy if you use anyone else but the O'Halloran Group to buy a house. That's the reaction we want. Like, we think we're the best. We are the best at managing the process of buying and selling real estate. And it doesn't matter what you're buying or selling. We will make sure that your experience is as good as could possibly ever be. And if we do everything correctly that way, referrals come in and our business grows, people are happy, and they're all making really good decisions because we're helping them make really good decisions around real estate. And
You make it sound so easy.
yeah, well, 15 years.
A lot of hard work. I love that, though, that the success isn't going to come overnight. And, you did say now you are the best. You're the best in your area. You do have this really, really solid reputation. So what's next for the O'Halloran Group?
Really, it's really, we have some goals that we want to hit. We would love to have 10% market share in our area. I think we're a little over 6% right now. I think the biggest thing, obviously, for success for us is making sure our team members are super happy and get to relax, but are financially and mentally healthy.
Mhm.
And if we just been our consistent focus is that, we have another person joining our team, just recently joined our team. So we're super pumped for him to kind of experience our kind of launch pad of how we envision business and life, and see where he grows with that. And at some point down the road, we might add another person, but we like being small and efficient and having as much fun as possible. So that's kind of it. I mean, we don't want to take over the world. We want to be able to make sure that we're, at a certain production level that aligns with our goals. But, all of us, time is super important, like free time, non-work time, and imparting that on everyone that works for us. So they're doing that as well. So.
That's awesome. And I love that you really feel confident in sort of that vision and how much you want to grow while not growing too much. I am curious, because you've talked about the customer experience, you've talked about your agent experience, you've talked about your goals and planning. Do you feel like there's like a silver bullet out there that you don't have, or a missing piece of the puzzle, whether it's technology or, not having a pandemic or whatever it is, like one or two factors that would really help you get to that 10% market share growth?
It's a great question. I don't think there is a silver bullet, a simple, easy answer for it. Obviously having listings would be great, more listings. We've our turnover in listings has been really good, but right now we're at a lower point. We have some new listings coming up, which is great, but we don't have the same inventory we had 2 months ago for listings. So we're in that, all right, if you want to sell your house, now's the time to get highest and best value. But yeah, I don't think there's a simple answer to that at all. The industry and the world is too complex for a perfect thing. I think what we're doing and with our planning and conversations that we have every day, I think is what's going to get us to that 10%. So, it's okay if it takes a little bit of time. I mean, we've gone I never thought we'd go as fast as we did for our growth currently. And so it's just one of those things where if things take a little bit of time, that's great too. We're very happy with where we're at, and yeah, I mean, 10% would be great. And so it's only 4% away. So, or less than 4 right now. So we'll get there.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's only 4% instead of it's almost doubling where you are. It's kind of the mindset too. And you're a very positive person. I
Only
think
70 houses, but yeah.
right? And also clearly you're very knowledgeable about the market, knowledgeable about real estate. And I'm curious, if you have, for people listening to this, some tips for, ongoing learning. How can they stay connected, especially during a pandemic,
Sure.
where maybe you don't have the same networking opportunities? Like how can they feed that knowledge?
Yeah. So I do a big proponent of reading or like I don't have as much. If I read and sit down, I want to like read a fiction book and sit down and turn my head off in that respect. But I love Audible, so I hammer through audiobooks a lot. And right now we have the team reading Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And it's a fantastic book. So I'd highly recommend read that. It's very timely given our current state of the world too. And so I think Obstacle is the Way, and then there's Outliers is another book that I'm fascinated by. And Outliers is great because it kind of pokes holes in that overnight success is possible and analyzes people that have been super successful and what was happening and occurring in that time frame around people's success. And it's like, oh, okay, so it's not like this guy just woke up and made $2 billion. Like, so those are really good books. But I think if you want to get involved and engaged and try to expand your mind, your network, and everything of that nature, I really think it's if you're in real estate, look at your associations. How can you be a contributor? We all have to work together in this business. It's a weird industry where we compete and we have to collaborate, right? So if you can get involved in your associations and help contribute in that regard and be a beneficial volunteer in the association, I think that'd be great because all it's going to do is that next transaction you're working with that person is going to go a lot more smoothly, and you become known as someone that when they work with you, things just come together and it happens. And so that is a very core component to success in this business, because when you're going up against 5 other offers, that agent that's representing their seller is going to say, listen, I've worked with this guy and every single time we've had a closing, we haven't had any issues. And he says it's going to happen, it happens. And so when they balance that risk of all these 5 offers that look the same, their risk is not just what's in the offer, it's who's on the other side of the table. And if you're positioning yourself and being known in that regard of someone that can help keep things smoothly together and keep a deal together, that'll help you in your business with your peers. And then I think, locally in your communities, non-real estate people, look at how you can help be someone with the best information at hand. And honestly, like it's your tour guide of your local area. So you should know the best places to eat, where the best beer is. Are there nano breweries? Because those are awesome and they're popping up everywhere. I like beer, but there's all that kind of stuff. It's really, really important though to really be at the core of your community and what's happening, and then sharing those opportunities that pop up locally. And if you become that source, I think those are some really good ways to kind of get yourself entrenched in and be successful in the long term.
I love that. I love that. Just a collection of wisdom from Malcolm Gladwell. Success doesn't happen overnight. To be the tour guide of your area. focus on that to, everything else you're saying about getting involved makes sense. And your comment about competition too. Obviously, real estate is a very competitive industry, and you seem like someone who's kind of risen above that. And I know there's a lot of people out there who believe in ninja and sort of the philosophy of abundance. There's enough business for everyone, and so I think it's awesome you've seen the success you have, and thank you for sharing all your insight with us.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
one more question, Dan, just for our audience. Can you share something fun about you or some little tidbit that's maybe not real estate related that most people don't know?
Okay. Most people know that my wife and I like to travel a lot. Um, but I like adrenaline. So one of the scariest things I've done was, and Christina did it with me. It was pretty scary. We're in Chamonix, France, and we ran off an 11,000-foot mountain paragliding. Um, and it was just the coolest damn thing I've ever done. It was awesome. So
Wow, do you have a video of it?
yeah, yeah, the whole thing. It was awesome. It was like and the village was at 3,500 feet. So you go from 11,000 feet all the way down to that. And we caught thermals and went up higher, and it was just incredible. So, yeah. And then they did whips, and I had my GPS tracker on. So we hit I think it was over 20 miles an hour going horizontal, whipping around. And it was cool. So I don't
Wow.
know. I like adrenaline stuff and going fast. And, that was kind of a fast and slow adrenaline thing. So
Right. Love it. And you're a big skier too, right? So you're gonna get your adrenaline kick this winter, hopefully.
I'm hoping, yeah, I'm going to be skinning up and skiing as much as possible and avoiding lines because might as well.
Yeah, why not? Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Dan, for being with us. Again, for everyone listening, this is Dan O'Halloran, who's the broker owner of the O'Halloran Group, which is one of the top Keller Williams teams in New Hampshire and New England. And thank you so much for being here, Dan.
Thank you so much for having me.